But again, I'm so proud of the work and proud of myself. But knowing that I have a voice and I'm going to stick up for what I believe in, and not let anyone crush my light, basically, or try to dim my light, and that I will not be a pawn for someone else's agenda.
Yes, we love all of
Can't
this.
break Chelsea's soul. Let's go. Let's go. Chelsea said, I'm ready to rock.
Welcome to Horror Movie Survival Guide, Disco Citizens, the podcast where gorehounds
and best friends, Teri Gamble
and Julia Marchesi, break down a different horror movie each week,
exploring a multitude of genres, subgenres,
and sub-subgenres,
classic and cult,
international
and underground flicks alike, determining which films are the goriest,
and offering up Horror Movie Survival Guide tips to
help you stay alive.
Welcome to Horror Movie Survival Guide. We are so excited today to have a guest that we know in real life to be rad and also has many, many, many things to Teri's just smiling. The smile, if you could only see it, if you're not watching this, the smile.
Oh my gosh. If you're watching on YouTube or our Patreon, you're going to enjoy this because this is a good one. Oh my God, I'm already dying. Today we have on a dear friend of the show, Chelsea, amazing mother freaking Stardust.
Woo!
Chelsea hails from, yes, Chelsea. Thank you. I'm so excited. Tell them. Sorry, Julie, I jumped on your lines. Go. Tell them about Chelsea.
Chelsea hails from the Midwest and has been working in Hollywood for over 15 years. After working for Titans Ivan Reitman, Judd Apatow, and Jason Blum, Chelsea started pursuing directing, writing, and producing full-time. Chelsea's first feature film, the science fiction thriller All the Way to Destroy, as part of the Blumhouse series Into the Dark, is currently available on Hulu. We also did an episode on it, so you should go back and check that out.
Absolutely check it out. And her second feature film, the horror comedy Satanic Panic, which we've also covered on this show, so check that out, was written by novelist Grady Hendrix, My Best Friend's Exorcism, How to Sell a Haunted House, and it was featured in over 20 film festivals all over the world, and is currently available on VOD, Blu-ray, and VHS. Get it on VHS. That's hot.
And Chelsea I have it on VHS.
Of course you do. Of course, Julia does. So if you like Julia, get it on VHS. Chelsea produced the feature film anthology Grind, which we are all a part of, which was created, written, and directed by Bria Grant and Ed Doherty, and is premiering this year at South by Southwest. Yes. Chelsea also directed the wraparound segments of Grind that are also stellar. I'm so excited for this.
And most recently, Chelsea produced a commercial for Loungefly. Hell yeah, the popular brand owned by Funko. She also directed the music video Blood Bather for the indie rock band Cursive that Teri is in. And she also produced 3 short films, 2 of which are heading to the festival circuit later this year, and the co-host of Sitting in the Dark podcast. And last but not least, she is a published writer, and her work has been featured in several books and online publications. Teri,
welcome to Horror Movie Survival Guide, Chelsea Stardust. Oh no, is it Frank? Is it Chelsea or is it Frank? Oh my gosh.
So hot.
It's me.
We will be talking about Donnie Darko. That does have something to do with today's episode. That is so delightful. Hello. Good morning. Good to see you.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my whole heart is like so full right now. I'm so excited. Chelsea, I have to say, we just had a cast and crew screening of Grind like a week ago with you. It was incredible. But my favorite part, one of my favorite parts that still lives with me and I kept thinking about all week is when Chelsea Stardust producing like logo came across the screen and the entire room lost their minds and erupted. That might have been one of the loudest cheers of the night, which I think speaks volumes to I had a friend with me who's, had just met you that night. She was like, whoa. I was like, I know. I was like, she has helped everybody in this room do something. I'm going to let you know that right now. That's a number one reason why she is there for all of her friends. And this was like, just like a culmination of just like joy to celebrate you that night as well. You've been working so dang hard and doing so much. We just ran down a laundry list of all these amazing things you've been doing, but like you do stuff beyond what's even listed on this. That is just, I think, just above and beyond for everybody. So thank you for doing that for all of us. We really appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much for the kind words. And yeah, that was a great moment to see, because I don't think anyone had seen, that's on one other movie, that logo, but I've since kind of changed it a little bit. It used to have, you could hear my voice, but I've since like took that part. I'm a different person than when that was first made. So I wanted to adjust it a little bit. And a fantastic editor made that for me. And she just said, you could have this. And I haven't had anything, I just started producing in the last like 2 years. So 3 years again. And so this is my chance to bring it out of its retirement and have it back on the big screen. So that was so great when I shared. I was not expecting that, and it felt very good. And I'm so proud of that movie, the little movie that could. And we're heading to South by in like 2 weeks from when we're
How excited are you? And I know you were really itching to get back in the director's chair. So how does that feel?
Yeah, it feels really good. Like, the whole reason, I think we talked about this, but the whole reason Grind came about was because Bria just asked me, Bria Grant and her creative partner Ed, they were getting ready to, they created Grind, they co-wrote Grind, they both directed 2 segments, and they came to me and they said, we're getting ready to make this, but we need someone to steer the ship because they also have to be the directors, they have to be creative, and so they needed someone to kind of manage everything. And I came in, and so I haven't directed since like 2012 or 2014. Like, it's been a long time. And I said, okay, if that's going to happen, we're going to make this movie happen. So I said, here's the start date. This is when we're going to start shooting. We're shooting this many days. We're shooting in LA. We're doing this. We're doing that, like SAG and Film LA and all these things. So we shot in 2024, and then I did the wraparound at the top of 2025 because we wanted to make sure nothing was going to change after they directed their segments, to see, is there anything that we want to change for like the first thing the audience sees and the last thing the audience sees, which is what I was directing. I wasn't even expecting to be asked to do that. I don't even think when we were shooting that was a plan, but they basically said, do you want to do the wraparound? And I said,
it makes sense. You had you literally had the pulse. You were the pulse. You got your finger on the pulse of the whole project. But also I feel like you were very instrumental in assembling the cast for all the segments and everything too. Like you really knew what was kind of who would be great in those other parts. And you did such a great job, I want to say, on that casting as well too.
Thank you. I mean, we had an amazing casting director, but it was also, who do we love and admire that we could also pull into this, because it was such a family situation with the cast too. And we always want to work with friends. That's always the goal too. That's one of the reasons I do this. And I also think there's a lot of importance of saying names in a room, like Bria said my name in a room. And that's how I got that job. And then I directed at the beginning of this year as well. So starting the years off right. But now, obviously, Grind, all that hard work, years of hard work, especially for Bria and Ed, is finally paying off. As we start, South by will start our, hopefully, year of festival insanity. So,
and what a great festival to start with. And Teri is featured in this film. It has even gets to have their own stunt double. So pretty sweet.
Ooh, Lisa Cohen, so shout out to, I call her Adventure Time me. She's so fun. She's wild. She like showed up on a motorcycle, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you're gonna do this thing. And people didn't note it. Like at the end, they're like, oh, I thought you did it. I was like, no, that's Lisa.
People had no
She's
idea.
amazing.
Lisa, was incredible.
Yeah.
And that screening was the first time. It was just for the cast and crew, and because you have to be careful with festivals, like you can't screen the movie ahead of time, but you are allowed to do a cast and crew screening. So it was the first time a group of people saw the movie. We had one teeny group of people see it that had all done anthologies before, that had all directed them. So we had them come in and give us notes really early on. This would have been last year, maybe the middle of last year, to get notes. And you always want feedback.
Sure.
But those were the only people that saw it. So it was like, everyone was very nervous, I think, because is the DCP okay? Like, we were testing it. That's the one that goes to South by. Is everything going to be okay? And it was great.
Yeah. And the soundtrack and everything really came together. So
very pleased.
And so and you'll get to see my little mug in 2 segments. One time looking happy, one time crying. So the range of Julia Marquesi in 2 shots.
Julia,
there it is.
That's kind of how I know you. I feel like it's like
snap.
We're gonna get one up there. But I also love that, Julia, this is I think your 3rd time, I think, within the last like few months. We've been watching we watched a couple other Julia's movies recently too. That she plays a shopper. And each time I'm like, Julia, you're like the super shopper. You're good at being that customer, grabbing an item. I love it.
Yep. I'm in December, I'm a customer, and in Bearing the Axe, I'm a disgruntled customer. So, I can be disgruntled, and I can the range. Anyway, we're not here to talk. We're here to talk
You're
about
part
you.
of a pyramid scheme in this.
I know.
And also
So,
just excited to be a part of a scary pyramid scheme. It's great in the
Mhm.
MLM segment.
yeah,
Yes.
most people are. So
Mhm.
we have talked to you on our show that we did with the Horror X with the George A. Romero Foundation, but we have never talked to you here on Horror Movie Survival Guide. So we got to rewind it all the way to the back and talk about how horror movies entered your life.
Yes, my parents are primarily responsible for horror movies. I was a big fan of, I grew up with um, Goosebumps and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, Grimm's Fairy Tales, things like that. But in terms of cinema, my parents are responsible for that. So they are both cinephiles. They watch, frankly, more movies and TV than I do.
My
How is
parents are
that
the same.
possible?
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, that's
It's
true. Julia,
crazy.
every night your parents are giving
Yeah,
us
my parents just
recommendations.
like
They
take
actually bring us
turns.
a lot of recommendations for the show too.
Yeah, they do.
Yes,
Yeah, they
mine
do.
too.
So,
Yeah.
as far as film, then, what is the first film you can remember watching with them?
Oh God. A first film? That's a great question. I don't know. Oh no, I do know the answer to that. The very first film that I saw, which came out the year I was born. So I was born in March of 1985, dating myself big time. And my dad took me to Back to the Future as an infant. And he really wanted to see it. He's like, they took me everywhere. So they weren't nervous they're like, well, she's just going to come with us. I'm an only child. And
Mhm.
he's like, I really want to see Back to the Future. I'm just going to take her with me. She's probably just going to sleep through the whole thing.
Mhm.
And I did. I mean, I'm sure people listening are like, how dare someone bring an infant to a movie? I understand that.
Oh.
But different times this was. But I slept through the whole thing, supposedly, but it left a deep imprint on me. I have a Back to the Future tattoo as my favorite movie of all time. Nothing compares to that. And that's probably the reason. So, and in terms of genre films, of course, I grew up I'm a fan of the dark Disney. So we're talking Sleeping Beauty, Black Cauldron, Snow White, the really disturbing ones. Sword in the Stone, not as dark, but that's Madame Mim
Mhm.
is
Sword in the Stone's my
So
favorite.
good.
Yeah.
that's my favorite Disney as well. And so, but still very young. Again, cinephiles, but my dad loved the Universal monster movies. So I grew up every Halloween watching Dracula, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Wolfman, and carving pumpkins with my parents.
Do you have a favorite within those monsters you just mentioned?
Yeah, Dracula, just because it's the one that I think the first one we watched, and I think it's such a beautifully made movie. But of course, like as time goes on, I find myself watching Creature a lot. Dracula, I have to save for Halloween, the week of Halloween, Lights Off. Also, all those movies are like 65 minutes long. They're all
Yep.
quite short.
Mhm.
So my partner and I will like, okay, it's Universal Monster Night. We're going to go through and watch them all. And of course, if anyone has like the Blu-rays that Universal did, they're just gorgeous. The restoration's beautiful on them. So that's where it started. And then it grew from there as I got older. They let me see more and more. Night of the Living Dead, obviously, which is what we talked about before. That's a huge favorite of mine. And then, of course, as I got older, it's like Alien. Then I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which changed my life. And then it went on from there. Seeing Near Dark, Catherine Bigelow's movie.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, and so
Did you talk to James Paxton while we were filming about his dad in that movie? Because James Paxton, Bill Paxton's son, is in Grind, and so I think we're covering Near Dark around that time, or had just done it. So I got to talk to him a little bit about that and just tell him how appreciative he was. He was like, oh, like special place in his heart hearing about his dad in that movie. And his dad just gave one of the best performances of life in that film too. So
yeah, I've gone as his dad as Halloween. I've gone as him before. Yeah. So just always loved horror movies. They always just resonated with me. And luckily my parents were very open. They wanted to show me all cinema. They're like, you need to appreciate all cinema. We know you love the spooky stuff. But I have an incredible filmmaking or a film knowledge got a film knowledge education from them. So I had seen like the AFI top 100 list before I even went to college, like seen a lot. Seen a lot.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
then how did it turn from watching into wanting to become part of the filmmaking process itself?
Well, I was obsessed with movies. And because my parents are both fine artists, they are very encouraging of being in the arts, and they understand the struggle that comes with being in the arts. And both they were both teachers as well. So,
Same as
but
Terry's parents.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. So,
Mhm.
so in terms of the filmmaking itself, I grew up in a time of people having video cameras just in their homes. So my dad, he had a Super 8 camera, he had a mini DV, VHS, like every birthday party, Halloween party, Christmas gathering is documented. So my entire life is basically documented,
That's so
um,
cool.
which is amazing. And
So you need to
because
like make the Chelsea Stardust supercut, and then like we just
sure,
watch your life. We just watch you
nobody
grow
needs,
up.
but I basically just picked up a camera one day and I just wanted to. It was in high school, and I think freshman year of high school, and I thought, I wonder if I can turn in a short film instead of write a paper. And that's
Yeah.
what I did. And so I just started shooting stuff because my dad was always shooting, pulling out the camera. I thought maybe I'll try that. And then they enlisted me in a continuing education course through the Cleveland Institute of Art because I'm from Northeast Ohio. And there's this incredible film professor named Robert Banks, filmmaker. He's diehard film, only shoot on film, does a lot of experimental filmmaking, and loves horror movies. So I took his
Mm.
class. I shot on Super 8. This is like cut and splice. So we're actually like working with film. We're drawing on film, dyeing film, doing all that stuff.
The
Ooh,
good stuff, the fun
The good
that's so
stuff.
stuff, the
cool.
real. It's the best. And then when I left the class, he like handed me a stack of dubbed VHS tapes, and he said, "Now your real horror education begins." And
Ooh.
he gave me deeper cut things. Like he's like, "I know you love Night of the Living Dead, but you should see this movie called Martin."
Yes, you
And
should.
that was part of the stack. The
One of
Hills
my
Have
favorite
Eyes.
Blu-rays.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
We love
um,
Martin.
Martin. Oh
Mhm.
yeah, and Hills Have Eyes. God Told Me to, the Larry Cohen
Hmm.
film. So there was a lot of like the deeper cut stuff, and so then it just kept going from there. And I
One of
decided I want
the
to go to school for it.
the one of the greatest marquees there was ever at the New Beverly is when God Told Me To was double featured with another movie called Bone. So
Oh,
the marquee was God Told Me to Bone, which
God
is
told me.
amazing, amazing.
Love it.
We love a play on words, Marquis. Aw. Incredible. All right, so we're diving deep, we're getting to the lore. How do we jump from school to what happens next? What are we doing next?
Um, I was a very determined, stubborn person, and I just wasn't gonna let anyone tell me what to do. So I just decided I want to become a filmmaker. I went to college. I went to film school at Ohio University. They had a teeny film program. They took like 3 people a year in the
Wow.
undergrad program. So you're taking a graduate class as an undergrad. So you're working with grad students, and then you get an undergrad degree. So then you could go to grad school if you wanted, but no one should ever go to grad school for film necessarily. If you want to, you don't need to. You don't need to.
Yeah.
You can, but you don't need to. Just go make stuff. But through that, a lot of people argue like film school or not film school. I say I am pro film school because of the people I met.
Hmm.
And those are the people that I'm still working with. Like my DP, Mark Evans, I met him freshman year in a Film
Mhm.
101 class. Like,
Mhm.
and he shoots almost everything I've ever made. He's shot except for my segment of Grind. But he shot Bria's segment of Grind. He was on a feature when I was shooting, so he couldn't be there. But so it's the people you meet. Our music supervisor I went to college with who worked on Grind. So many actor friends of mine, like you name it, they like our OU contingency is huge. So it's about the people you meet that you want to be able to eventually work with. So, and then the school helped facilitate an internship through attending the Austin Film Festival. I met the writers of The Wedding Crashers, and they said, "Hey, would you ever want an internship? Like, we're working with a company in LA." And
Oh.
in my mind, I was going to go to New York, and because I'd spent so much time there because of my parents. And so they said, "Hey, we're working with this company called Heyday. You know, they're making those Harry Potter movies, so you should go intern for them." And I
Wow.
did, and they were on the Warner Brothers lot.
Wow.
And
How
they shared an
cool.
office with David Goyer. And then down the hall was Christopher and Jonah Nolan, and they were working on the new Batman. They were working on Batman Begins. So
Wow.
Wow.
that's the time I was there for 3 months in the summer between my junior and senior year, and it changed my life in the sense that met more people, knew I wanted to come to LA. I was on the Warner Brothers lot, so I was
You're on
so
the lot.
spoiled.
That lot is
Magic.
History.
incredible. One of my first jobs I did was doing ER there. Like I like an episode of ER. Like when I'm like, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
this
the
is what it's
history is
like.
incredible.
It's such a
But,
cool lot. Ugh.
but where's alternate universe Chelsea? Who went to New York? What happened there? That's
Well, no, the alternate universe Chelsea is the one that was offered to be a PA on the Harry Potter movies and turned it down to go do her senior thesis.
Wow, that's crazy.
So where would she be? I don't know.
Chelsea.
Yeah.
Chelsea. Chelsea. I'm sorry, Chelsea. Oh my God.
Yep.
It's okay. That person is hanging out with alternate universe Teri, who turned down working on the costumes for The Notebook. I would have gone on location in North Carolina and would have hung out and probably touched Ryan Gosling's body,
That's
at a
it.
very young
That's it.
age.
Yep.
We're hanging out. They're
So
hanging out together somewhere.
yes, that's right. But I decided, I was like, oh no, I got to go back and finish my senior thesis, which I shot on film, which was I shot on 16 millimeter. It was a big homage to John Waters, and real fucked up little movie. And
Yeah.
and then I thought I'm gonna take the summer off and then move to LA. And then I ended up getting a call from one of the women I interned for, and she said, "Hey, have you graduated?" And I said, "I literally just got home." She said, "Great, my assistant's leaving. Can you start in 5 days?" And I
Wow.
said, "Yeah." And so I just unpacked from college, packed again, and drove across the country and started. And that was for Ivan Reitman's company, Montecito Picture Company. I'd never been an assistant before. They don't teach you that stuff. They don't teach you how to do
Oh
that.
no.
I learned filmmaking. I learned lighting and how to use Avid and film cameras and sound. And I did not learn how to be an assistant, but because I had interned, I had a grasp on what you do. And so that's how it all started. And my first movie set was actually directed by a woman named Vicki Jensen. It was called Grad.
Mhm.
And I got to meet, this is my very first like real film set. And the first day I went to set, I talked to Michael Keaton, Jane Lynch, Carol
Wow.
Burnett, Zach Gilford, Alexis Bledel. Like this was my first movie experience, like
Wow.
real movie like set. Also, the fact that it was directed by a woman was incredible. And then I, met my Batman, Michael Keaton, and so
Yeah.
which I was losing my mind about. But luckily, a friend of mine, her mom went to high school with him, and so we talked about that. So that saved me kind of.
Isn't that great when you have just a little in, just
Little
that's a
in.
little off the beaten path?
Yep.
Yes.
Anyways, and so from there, I was just in comedy for a while, and then as an assistant, and then I worked for Judd Apatow for 2 years as his one of his 5 assistants, basically. And then I got the job working for Jason Blum at Blumhouse, being his executive assistant for 4 years, and I worked on 27 movies while I was there. And then he
27.
produced my first movie, All That We Destroy. So then
Wow.
then I was a true filmmaker. So I moved here in 2007. And then I was an assistant until the very end of 2017.
Yeah.
And
10
then
years.
I was a full-time filmmaker after that, basically.
It's always
all
a
thanks to
magic
Jason.
10. I swear to goodness. It really
Yeah.
is, really kind of is. I've done it twice now. I got one more in me, I say.
Oh, yeah.
The 10-year,
Brutal.
the cycle of like leveling up each time. It's great, but it
Yeah.
is that
It's hard.
time. It is. Yeah.
And how was it for you to step into the director's chair of a feature?
Well, at that point, I had done, oh boy, maybe 6 or 7 short films. So I was ready because I also had to prove, if someone's going to give me money to make something, I have to prove that I'm a competent director.
Sure.
So I made a bunch of short films for Crypt TV. They were all horror and, in the horror genre. And so that helped a lot. And then I think I was so ready. And it's a script that was written for me by my partner, Sean Keller, and his
Shout
then
out.
writing partner, Jim Agnew, but Sean is now my writing partner. Sorry, Jim. That I was just so ready, and it was a story that I knew inside and out, and because it was written for me. I developed it. And then, you know, Blumhouse said, okay, go make it. And they left me alone. And but it was made as a feature. And then the folks overseeing Into the Dark, the Hulu series, saw it. And they're like, can we acquire this for TV? Because it would be a great Mother's Day episode for the series. Because those are all standalone movies. They're not connected.
Mhm.
But they're all kind of based on holidays. And at first I was kind of being a brat about it. I was like, well, I want to do theatrical or like film festivals. And Jason was like, Chelsea, like, are you like, is that, I don't know. They love this. And then I realized, again, I was just being a brat, that more people would see this movie on Hulu than would ever see it in the theaters, or like would see it theatrically or at film fests, because so many people saw Hulu. Like I could skip those steps because it's eventually going to be streaming anyways. And also I didn't have, which I didn't realize at the time, but I do now, that if it was it's a small movie, but there were no box office numbers that someone could say, oh, this person did a movie that was not successful in the theaters. We can't give them anything else to make. So I didn't have to worry about that. I just had my movie immediately streaming on a big platform that millions of people saw. So no one looked and saw, oh, they couldn't say, oh, we can't give her another movie because this didn't perform. But I ended up getting my second movie before my first movie was even finished. And then they both came out in 2019. So it was crazy. It was like a crazy time in my life. Polar, totally different experiences in terms of making movies. But I'm a better producer and director and writer because of those experiences. So like I can, really stand up for what I believe in now, which maybe I couldn't before. And I couldn't have gotten through my second movie without how successful making my first one was with Blumhouse. So, but you just got to be really resilient. It's such a tough, you guys know like what a difficult industry this is. And you just have to be really stubborn and just not give up. And it's really hard because they push you to the brink in this industry.
What were your biggest lessons from those two movies? What were because you said you learned a lot in improving writing. What are the things that you think you've improved on because of those projects?
The first movie, probably pick your battles. And I think I was a little, I was young. I feel like I maybe made a big deal about things that weren't such a big deal, like littler things. And really pick your battles. What do you really want to fight for? Don't have to fight for the little things if they're not going to impact the overall vision of your movie. And speak up is from my second movie, like safety is a big thing, and always speak up. Never be you have a voice and you can use it, and don't let someone else try to crush that. And there are people that are going to be behind you and help you, and if you need help, like ask for it, and just know you have I didn't have a voice, and but now I know what I will like never stand for. And I felt like the phoenix coming out of the ashes, and I absolutely love my second movie, Satanic Panic, so much, and I love that cast. I'm so thankful for them. But I learned so much that really has prepared me for what I'm doing now. And I feel so much more confident because my confidence was completely destroyed. It took me years to recover. But again, I'm so proud of the work and proud of myself. But knowing that I have a voice and I'm going to stick up for what I believe in. And not let anyone crush my light, basically, or try to dim my light. And that I will not be a pawn for someone else's agenda.
Yes, we love all of this.
Can't break Chelsea's soul. Let's go. Let's go. Chelsea said, I'm ready to rock. I can see that. And I just, I don't know. I just think you're just very cool. Great to work with you. I just remember working on Bloodbather and just being like, in, out. You were just ready, shots ready, like everything. I didn't ever feel like any of the things you're talking about. I was like, I don't know who that person is who you're talking about from before, because I know you now. And I'm just like, oh yeah, no, just ready to rock and roll, knows what you want, knows what you need, know what you need, and made it happen. So
I'm not the same person. That's because I'm not the same person. Like I'm very like between 2020 and 2018 to 2022, I like really did a lot of work and got through stuff. And also because my DP had gone through all that stuff too. Now we're a well-oiled machine. I love prep. I'm type A. I want to come in and be ready.
Your shots were like lined up, and I was like, "Oh shit, okay, next setup, okay, great. Oh shit, we're already in the next setup." I was like, "This is great," because like I've been on set sometimes, and that is not the case. So you really, you guys know what you want, what you need, and make it happen. And
we don't always get
cool.
second chances, like especially as women, LGBTQ, non-binary. We just don't always get the second chance that so many men usually do. Of if you may have one misstep, whether it's your fault or not, you don't always get the second chance. So I felt I really had to prove myself, especially with Bloodbather. That was the first thing first thing I directed since my 2 features. And then with Grind, it was, oh my God, I have to make this good for Bria and Ed. This is the first thing people are going to see of the movie and the last thing they're going to see. So how you're introing someone to the movie and then what you leave them with. First thing festival curators are going to see. Like I felt a lot of pressure for that, which I know I talked to you both about. And then something I just directed now. It's like I need to really do a good job on this because of who it's for. And I'm the only woman on the project. So I really wanted to, I put pressure on myself that I probably didn't need to, but I wanted to push myself. Mm-hmm. And so that means being prepared, working with the actors, like all of those things, knowing the material inside and out. And so, but yeah, I think a handful of people have seen sort of the trajectory, but my DP especially has seen it, has talked to me about it. It's like, you're a different person. And of course more confident.
But you're doing what you love to do, right? And that's what shows through. And I think, one of the things that's so important that you've mentioned several times is the people you meet. And I think what Hollywood is really about is filtering through people and trying different people with different things and going like, oh no, not that person. Okay. And finding who are the people you work with and who are not, and Hollywood's a lot of stuff, right? Like we see a lot of things. But I think that everybody, it gets to filters through to a good place.
Yeah. And what's sad, and the sad thing is like so many people have been through something. Like,
sure,
we've all been through something. We've all and it's, even though it's not great when you hear that, it also bonds you together. And the thing that excites me the most is getting to work with people. So obviously it's like, oh, working with, for Grind, we're like, oh, even Bria and I were talking, okay, we need a role for Julia. We need a role for Teri. We need a role for this person. We need a role for this. And the fact that we get so spoiled that we get like our first choices is like very like who we want. Because then I have oh shit, well, what happens if this person says no, or they're busy or whatever? Like, fuck, then what do we do? And we have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to like the talented people in our lives. Like we're so lucky.
Yeah. And we talked about it on Horror X, and I will say again that I would say, the horror community is a delicious space here in LA. Women in horror, even more so. It's like a really wonderful, supportive, comforting, everybody's really pulling for each other kind of place, which is terrific. Yeah. So we're going to segue here because we are also going to be talking today about a movie that you chose. Now, this is one of my favorite movies, and we have never done it because I've never seriously considered it a horror movie, which we can talk about. But we are talking about 2001's.
Chelsea's face. Ooh,
I know. We're going to talk about. Yep, she's
ready.
Got the mask.
I mean, when you got a mask.
Yeah.
I mean, as part of your, oh my God, how cute are you? With your artwork, Chelsea just held up the Donnie Darko bunny mask, the Frank mask.
So I saw Donnie Darko on release. I saw it in the theater when it came out. One of the few people to see that, and went hard for it, to the point that I watched it so much that my roommates hid the disc from me. They were like, "You can't watch this anymore. It's getting to be real weird," and they hid it. And I was like, "You guys are fucking around. Come on." They're like, "No, wouldn't." For like 2 days, they hid it. And they're like, "You have to stop."
This is why we're best friends.
This is why we're best friends. We're talking about Donnie Darko 2001, Darko, written and directed by Richard Kelly. I do have some alternate universe casting for you
Ooh.
because we could have had as Donnie Jason Schwartzman, who apparently did sign on and then had to go on into the project. And first choice for Eddie Darko, Donnie's dad, was Tim Robbins, which I also was like, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
I think that would be good. So tell us why you picked this film.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, where do I begin? Okay, so let me set the scene. 2001, I am in high school. Where I lived in the Midwest was middle of nowhere, very rural, and it was a thing to go to the movie theaters. And so something like this thing isn't, it's far. There was like no movie theaters really close to me, and so we were always like getting from stuff from the library and the video store. So once in a while we would venture out to it's called Cedar Lee, which is the art house theater in Cleveland, still going strong. And I remember being there with a friend, one of my best friends, Sadie, and we went there we did anti-prom, and we went there to see a movie. Maybe it was Anti-Homecoming. I'm trying to think of when this came out, but we saw a poster for this movie. And the poster is so iconic. It's like, the rabbit you see all the characters, and it's a very cool poster. And I was like, what is this? And I didn't have a chance to see it in theaters because it was only playing at this theater, and getting my parents to go see, like drive me there. I didn't have my license yet. So I rented it on, I don't know if it was VHS or DVD it was the summer between my senior year of high school and getting ready to go to college. And my boyfriend at the time, Jesse, we rented it and we watched it together, and it blew our minds. And it's like, it always makes, I have a very soft spot for this because of him. And it will always, anytime we still keep in touch. We see each other, we'll inevitably like bring up Donnie Darko, because we would have these very long conversations about it. And of course, I eventually get the Blu-ray, the Aero release, the director's cut version, watched it with commentary, read all the trivia about it, all the things. So
this is why we're friends, because we go hard. Once you're into something, you're like, I have to know everything. I got 2 Donnie Darko books on my shelf over there. Yeah, the whole bit.
The poster
Terry, when did you see it for the first time? Of course.
I feel like I probably saw it from you. I don't know, like early 2000s or some sort.
It was
probably that
me.
disc that the roommates, made you put away. I feel like it had been a long time. I feel like I'm just over here. I'm going to let you guys do this thing. I've seen it like twice. So like, but I also have obviously watched tons of clips, and I'm obsessed with Beth Grant. And especially in this movie, she's one of my favorite actors. We had her on Horror X as well. And she's a dear friend, and she's just one of my favorite actors of all time. When people ask, like, what kind of career do you have? I was like, Beth Grant. I was like, I want to play the weirdest lady that walks in and just says stuff like, I doubt your commitment to sparkle motion, okay? Like, I need you to know that, what she does in this, and all the actors. I mean, just acting so hard. Patrick Swayze, just, Anyway.
And this is a movie to Drew Barrymore, who made this all happen with her film
Flower
company.
Films. Yes, this was an early Flower Film. So I just remember being excited because of that, I think, as well too.
Yeah.
And just being obsessed with her from life, and her playing the cool teacher, of course. Just
the cast is incredible.
Everything you want.
This movie.
Yeah, Jenna Malone coming in. Just
I know, just always. So I did see your face when I said I didn't know if this was a horror film. Talk to me about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because there are always a handful of films where, is it a horror film? Is it not a horror film? I'm pretty loosey-goosey with categorizing things, but I think because the span of time it takes place, which is the month of October, in I believe 1988, and so I think because it already has this like
there's a Halloween party in the movie.
Halloween party. They're dressed up. I do have a replica, obviously, Frank the Rabbit costume. I've been it before. This was made by Little Shop of Gore. And then my costume was made by Jessica Lorton, who makes my costumes every year for Halloween. So I think because of that, also it has some pretty dark subject matter in it. And so I just also I think mainly it's because of the time of year. Like I just automatically I watch it every October.
People do die in horrific ways, so I
In
guess
horrific ways,
my brain
And
had
it's
just
just
never.
like it's in the thriller category, right? Solidly, I think psychological thriller is what it has, because you're dealing with this guy whose brain he's not sure. We're not sure most of the movie what's really going on. Is that real? Not real?
Yeah.
He's dealing with a fantastical creature from who knows where. And yeah, I think there's a lot in there. I'm gonna fight for it as a horror. I have for a long time. Julie was like, no, and then finally when you put it on the list, Chelsea, I went. We get to finally do it. Because I'd been wanting to cover it for a while as well too. So thank you for having this suggestion and pushing us to go on, right to the line, Julia,
Yeah.
to the lines.
I mean, I even will qualify something like Nightcrawler as a horror movie. So it's like
Yeah.
I like to kind of push the limits of that. But to me, it definitely is just, of course, because of and so much of it is. I mean, this movie is existential. It's intellectual. We're talking about time travel. We are talking about death. I mean, someone sacrifices themselves to save others. So it's like it's so many things that. I think and it's got this great dark comedy to it that I think gets overlooked a lot. The writing of this is incredible. I have to say, it has to be so difficult to, as a director, this be your first feature. And it's like I don't know how, as someone who's seen, The Box and has seen Southland Tales, and you cannot compete with this. Like your first, to be so lucky to have your first feature be so incredible and become a cult favorite. My heart does go out to Richard Kelly, because it's got to be really hard to, like my first. And it's perfect. This movie's perfect.
Yeah.
And the only thing that like stymied was like because of like 9/11 it coming out right around then. So it's like to know that like it might have been different. It's like Glitter, like a whole bunch of things that came out around that.
Like Glitter? What?
Sorry, the Glitter soundtrack came out on 9/11, and that movie came out at the same time. And so there's somebody anyway, some random gay on the internet was like, I got saved because I was, instead of going down towards downtown, going down by the World Trade, I went to go buy the Glitter soundtrack that day. And I'm just like, to this day, I'm just like, that is the gayest, whatever, most wonderful like way to save a life. But like it was the same time. So it's that era, but it got stymied because it has the airplane component and stuff and crash in it. So it was just like a tough, weird time. So it already has had an amazing life, but even if it had not had that, it could have been a whole nother. I just think about that alternate universe too for this film.
And also like
could have been even bigger than it already was.
Totally. But to piggyback off of what you were saying about soundtracks, like this has one of the greatest, like Michael Andrews' score, but also these, when I think about it now, I was like, these are such iconic 80s songs, but because again, he's so true to the period of it too. And also I love that like Rose Darko is reading it, and this little Stephen King nods. Obviously it's like an election year. But the music
Dukakis, I remember that election year. I remember that so well. So I was like, oh, it took me right back to 5th grade. I remember like that election. I remember too much about it anyway.
And very true to the 80s, as in like grounded 80s. And
not flashy.
It's not this neon Stranger Things thing. It's like it feels very true. And but these needle drops like Echo and the Bunnyman, Tears for Fears, Duran Duran, Joy Division, In Excess, Oingo Boingo, like The Church. And this soundtrack, I just, still to this day, I put in October, pulling the CD, pulling the CD out from my car, listening to this nonstop for like 2 weeks. But at the time though, this is 2001, 2000 is when they made it, like ish. Those songs probably weren't as popular as I think this stuff is now. And they probably, again, taking a guess, but I don't think they were like the expensive needle drops that we think music is now. When we hear things, you're like, oh shit, we know that music drop was expensive, that needle drop. I don't know if that was the case for this because of the time when this was made, how these songs.
I was wondering that while I was rewatching, honestly, because I was like, because I hear these songs, all of those songs actually, probably last week at karaoke. I hear every single one of those songs. Head Over Heels I hear almost every week. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean though? Like all these songs, and I was wondering, I thought about that too. I was like, is this because of this movie? Is this why these songs became what they are as well too? Because the soundtrack became so ubiquitous as well. And so was it sure cart horse, whatever, which was,
Yeah.
what made that happen. But it's pretty sweet.
Because like during art, which listen, 2000s, like early 2000s, end of the 90s, early 2000s was kind of like a rough, I think a rough time for women, but also think
What?
about like
Sorry.
but what was popular at this point? New metal. So like
Yeah.
this is as far away from that as you could get pretty much. So I think you're like, oh, this old music's in it because you wanted to put like millennials are pushing against what Gen X is doing. So it's like it's but to me, like, oh, I'm not listening to as much new metal these days. This is what I'm listening to these days. The
But
nostalgia is strong.
it's interesting because I just to prep for this, I just reread the script, which I have on my shelf, and like most of the music is in the script. It's like this is the song
Oh
that's
yeah,
playing. Here it's Pet Shop Boys. Here it's In Excess. Like it's already there before you've
amazing.
even started to film. So he was planning ahead. And I will say,
It's
one
incredible.
of my most incredible movie experiences was getting to watch Donnie Darko at the Aero, where he goes to
Where he goes
watch
to watch it.
movies at the Aero.
Yeah.
So you're watching the Aero screen on the Aero screen where the portal appears. Like
Yes.
it's the most meta thing
Were you
ever,
hoping
ever.
to time travel that night, Julia? Because I
I'm
feel like you
always
were.
hoping to time travel. Are you
Yeah, I
kidding me?
wondered about that because you both are like back in timers. Um,
I love
Back
that
to the
they do that.
Future.
Yeah, of course.
They usually do for Easter. They have their Donnie Darko Harvey double bill for Easter, which
Or
is
Evil
absolutely
Dead.
perfect. Yep, that as well.
Yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
Evil Dead and Last Temptation of Christ. Double feature
It's
in the movie
I know.
for
It's so
Halloween.
brutal.
It's kind of incredible.
So I know that there are a lot of theories about this movie as well.
Yes.
So we could talk about a few of those. One that I read that I hadn't thought of, the story that Eddie Darko tells to Rose about Frankie Fiedler, how he was doomed and he was killed on prom. The theory that that is Frank's father, since he said his name is Frank, his father's name is also Frank, and we have a Frankie Fiedler.
And
And I
his
was like, yeah,
grandfather's Frank. They were all
yeah.
Franks. Line
Yeah.
of Franks.
It's like that's a fun theory.
Yeah.
And then of course there's you have the like, is it a dream? Is it actually time travel? Is he actually insane and none of it is real? Are there any of the theories like how when you and Jesse were talking about like deep diving into it, like what were some of the theories that you'd come up with?
All real.
All real? Okay.
All real. Because I think there's something about thinking about when I saw this movie and how they are addressing mental illness at a time when a lot of that stuff was not being talked about, and that he's, seeing Dr. Thurman. Some of her practices are interesting,
Mhm.
hypnotizing him, and
Hmm.
the parents also being very concerned, but at the same time, when he like acts up at school, they're like, um, with Kitty Farmer, they're like,
Mhm.
Hmm.
yeah, it's not really that big of a deal, but they're so concerned for their child and his
Yeah.
well-being. It's like, okay, well, we don't want to up this medication, but if you feel like that's what we need to do, because I think so much was, because what was this the time of like Ritalin and stuff like that with our
Yes.
generation? So, but
Yes.
I don't think I'd seen it portrayed so much in cinema like this, where
No.
there's a responsibility that's being taken. He knows, and they're obviously talking about potential schizophrenia with seeing the Frank the Rabbit. But part of me is like, feels like, of course, this is when we were talking about when I was younger, but I thought premonition. He's also, I was fully like, yes, this is time travel. There's no doubt about it. He's, being taken to these places. He's literally sees what will happen and will sacrifice himself to prevent all of these things from happening. I was on board as like, yes, this is what's happening. And only he is privy to this. And also, but there's clues. There's the philosophy of time travel with Roberta Sparrow. Like
Right.
they're all there. It's there. And I also
And
love
also his
seeing.
face change when his face changes,
Oh yeah,
like he's on the other side. I mean, this acting job, little baby Jake, is
Yeah.
so strong.
yeah,
You could see like we're like, oh, he's gonna be all right. That boy can act. But that face change that he does each time that he's kind of in that like zone with
Mhm.
Frank, I was like, oh, that's not him anymore. Like that's another version of him or some
yeah.
other locked in version. I was like, that's when I was like, that's like future him or something else. Do you know what I mean? Though coming
Yeah.
back to fix this right now.
I saw
So
somebody refer to it as the alternate It's a Wonderful Life. So instead of Clarence taking you around to show all the horrible things that'll happen if you die, here's someone's like, all the horrible things that'll happen if you live. So
Yeah.
guess what you got to do? You go, yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
But he does it, you know?
He does it. And also I love the family dynamics, like cares about his sister, like when he's going to leave, you know, he gives her a kiss, I think, or like, right, you know, she's asleep on the couch and the parent, you know, there's a lot of love within that family too. And then obviously they went on to make the sequel with the actor
Which I have
who
not
plays
seen, and
Samantha.
I don't feel like I need to.
I did. You don't. But I will say what that I actually think I've seen the director's cut. I actually
Mhm.
like the theatrical.
I like the theatrical better as well.
I like the theatrical better because I mean I've watched the director's cut or I've watched the extra scenes that are in the director's cut with commentary, and to hear Richard Kelly kind of talk about like, yeah, this is what we're going for, but here's why we took it out. And every time I thought I kind of like respect for as your vision editing those things out because you don't have to tell the audience everything. You don't have to explain. And you can see like, yeah, maybe we don't really need this. And To Kill Your Darlings is like so hard, but to recognize, oh, this is a better movie because I'm keeping some of these things out. But then we can still watch it if we want. But I definitely think that the superior version is the theatrical.
Yeah.
I
For
think
me.
that's a general consensus from whenever I talk to anybody about this movie.
Yeah, it's funny though, isn't it? Because
Mhm.
like you're getting more information, and yet it kind of satisfies you less.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it depends because our imagination, we've already filled in those spaces though. That's the thing is
Yeah.
you already watched the version and you were like, I already did the work. And now you're trying to do more for me and maybe you don't like, you know, how they're coloring in the lines now. So yeah.
Yeah. And it also
Do
feels like,
you
oh, go ahead.
please go ahead?
I was just gonna say, it also
I
this movie feels oddly relevant because of even
always.
today, always, because they're even talking about like banning books in this movie, which is, I mean, it's the
Yeah.
80s, but then that is a conversation we're still having today, which blows my mind.
Yeah.
And I just
Well, it was
love,
similar. That's what I was saying. That Dukakis, like
yes,
Bush election. I'm sorry. That's what I'm saying. I was like, I very remember that era. I remember that time. I remember that election a lot because that was one of the first elections I remember being like cognizant of an election. Like I remember like having a section in school where we talked about it. Like we had little booklets. Like we were watching like the debates together. So I remember that debate. Like I was like, like all of that. And I remember that era kind of what came right after as well too because of that. So the
yeah,
conservative you know train that kind of came out of that,
yep.
we're still dealing with it. That's why it still feels really relevant because it's everything from that era is still happening. Even that Jim Cunningham self-help guy, like
Oh my
he's just
God.
like he would be online right now with like Andrew Tate or something. Do you know what I mean though? Like
Yes.
that's like, and with the kiddie porn dungeon, and I was like, oh wow. Wow.
But also to have like Patrick Swayze play a character that you
Mhm.
think is one way, and then the reveal. I remember watching that, being like, and, like eating it up. I was like,
Yeah.
this is insane. Mad respect for also R.I.P. What an icon. But for Patrick Swayze to take a role like that
Yeah.
is really incredible to me. And wow, you do not see that coming. And then also to have someone like Kitty who vehemently says, no, oh, this isn't true. I was like,
Right.
girl,
And goes
yeah,
and testifies on behalf for him.
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Honey,
It's
I'm
crazy.
telling you, we watched that in real time like a week ago on the news. So I was like, yep, yep. Little too on the nose, BB. Little too on the nose, having
Do
this
you have
church
do you have any
lady, like fight for
theories?
him.
Do you have any theories about Cherita?
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
oh my gosh. So um, I love Jolene Purdy, I think is the actress's
Mhm.
name. I
Yes.
love her. And to see, and so there's so many actors in that, like we see baby Seth Rogen. There's
Mhm.
the actor who plays Alex is in Phantom Planet. Like we see so many of these actors when they're young. Obviously, this was big time for Jenna Malone as well.
Mhm.
And I, yeah, I love her in this, and her love for Donnie too when he reveals it. Like sees it.
But people have like such theories about her, like she's always listening, and like
Oh yeah.
her and Drew Barrymore sharing looks, and like what does that mean, and the whole thing of like who does she represent in the grand scheme of
Mhm.
everything? How far you really go down the rabbit hole? But then we have a Frank to take you down the rabbit hole, right there. You have a
Yeah.
rabbit to, and he's not even complaining about being late. So it's like you get the good.
It's James Duval. Like
and James Duval. Yeah.
so cool. As someone who's a big fan of like Greg Araki to see him in this too. The
Yeah.
casting of this is just so incredible. But yeah, no, I think her her character, because she's kind of always, like you said, always watching, always, and considering like what happens to her and how, and Donnie sticks up for her too.
Mhm.
And then she does that performance, which is so gutsy, to be honest. Like when you think about like how she's treated, she's like, I'm gonna go ahead and do this performance because I care about it. And also Donnie telling her like everything's gonna be okay. As someone who's like
Oh,
was like bullied pretty hardcore in middle school and high school, there's a lot of stuff with her I very much related to. And how much it meant if like one person stuck up for you.
Yeah.
And
But it is for me, like she's willing to perform, but then goes and sits outside before they even give the awards away because she knows she's not going to
she
win.
knows.
So
Yeah.
it's like not even like that. That's the double whammy
Yep.
of poor Cherita.
she seems to be waiting
Yeah.
for the good things to happen, and like when she goes out there and like has that strange connection, I feels like as she's looking up to the stars too. So I was like, what does she know or not
Mhm.
know? What does she feel or not feel? I wonder. Um,
Is she
does she
experiencing
feel?
things?
Is she the ones who feels the time shift? Yeah, she's the one that is she the one who still remembers him from before and after, and like
Yeah.
knows like he would have been there for her, in either time continuum.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
oh, so good, so good.
I mean,
Um,
this is the kind of movie we could talk about for hours, So like, this is the good
yeah.
stuff. Like if you have a movie that will trigger this much conversation, I think that's what every filmmaker longs for. And I'm sure, as you said, for Richard Kelly, I'm sure it was very hard to kind of have this like amazing cult film out of the gate, to know that there possibly could have been this other universe where it could have been a slam dunk because of different circumstances. But because he's in my documentary, he's out of print, and when I
Mhm.
met him, he was still, he loves film so much, and I feel like that really
Yeah.
shows in his things. So from
Oh yeah,
one
this is
film
a movie made
lover,
by somebody who's obsessed with
yeah,
film for
Yeah.
sure. Like
And
that's
also
what I think why we all love it too. It's like it has that.
absolutely. And talk about as a like first feature to be so confident. The
mhm,
confidence in the direction of this movie and the writing. It's so gutsy, it's so ballsy, and the confidence in the filmmaking. I watch it and I think, wow, this person like got to me, I mean, I don't know if this is necessarily the case, but really got to make exactly what they wanted to make. And it is clear on screen. Um, and I don't know if he ever got that again. So it's like we haven't seen a movie from him in a minute. And so
mhm,
sometimes when you go through, like, if your second movie or third movie wasn't a great experience, a lot of people like, I gotta take a step back. I gotta just
mhm.
take a break, because it can very much break you. And to come out so strong, I have such admiration for like, wow, this person, to me at least, got to make exactly what they wanted to, and maybe we're left alone. Also, Drew Barrymore's in it. I'm sure, I hope, was like, assuming was an ally and helping fight for all the things that he might have wanted for this. But it's just so clear, and it's such a bold filmmaking, that because the story is wild, like, but with great actors. And I had the biggest crush on Jake Gyllenhaal and Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yeah,
Correct.
When I was in high
Correct.
school, I saw every single thing they were both in, like,
yeah.
obsessing, and are still incredible actors to this day. And
Yeah.
so,
I'm
but yeah,
excited for The Bride from Maggie too.
I
So
cannot wait. And
yeah,
Jake's
very
in that
excited
too.
for that.
So I just had such admiration for being able to make such a, and I have so much nostalgia for this movie too, because of the time I watched it, and with my first like real true boyfriend, and like, all of that. I'm still very I just love it so much. And I've uh gone on to be a big, obviously, dressing is Frank too.
Okay, it's Julia and Teri from the future saying that technical problems sometimes happen and just freezes, and that's the end of that episode. So.
Isn't that hilarious? So I'm sorry, but we were doing an episode about time travel, and here we are literally going back in time to our future selves. We're having to fix our episode from the past. That's crazy.
Yes. So Chelsea, being the darling that she is, sent us a voice memo to close out her end of it. And we just wanted to close out on our end and say, sorry for the mistake. Happens. We love you. Thanks for listening. You know us. You love us on all the platforms, et cetera, et cetera.
Thanks for understanding that, sometimes Frank is just here hanging out, and maybe we got to call Miss Sparrow, figure out some stuff about time travel. We'll fix it next time. And maybe we just changed the world, Julia.
Maybe we did.
We changed the world.
Maybe
Anyway,
if we had completed that episode as is, things could have gone astray, We're just extrapolating here.
We never know. Anyway, listen to Chelsea. You have a beautiful rest of your week. Do all the things like follow, subscribe. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Just adding in some final thoughts. So ultimately, I love this movie so much. I'm very nostalgic about this movie, and it's just definitely in my top 10 of all time. I just think it's such masterful filmmaking, and I watched it with commentary before I made my first movie. I learned so much about filmmaking from this movie and the things you could do, the aspect of visual storytelling, that you don't have to make everything super clean for your audience. They are smart and can figure things out. And so that's something that I learned from this movie, what you can tell just visually. It's just great writing too. So thank you so much for letting me talk about this movie and do this movie with you both. And it's always a pleasure to see you too. And I'm honored to be asked on Horror Movie Survival Guide. And you can find me on Instagram at Chelsea Stardust. That is the only social media I use. I also post all the movies I watch because Letterboxd is overwhelming to me. So you can see everything on Instagram. And coming up, I'm about to do a little festival tour with Grind. A couple things I've produced are going to be also hopefully hitting festivals. And I'm prepping to hopefully be directing something this summer, a feature film, pending financing, of course. So fingers crossed we can make it happen. I love you both so much, and thank you for having me, and cellar door.
Thank you for listening. Horror Movie Survival Guide is independently produced by Teri Gamble, Julia Marchesi, and Sierra Ryan. Hey, that's me. If you would like to support the show, find us on patreon.com/Horror Movie Survival Guide.